NVIDIA at $5 trillion. NVIDIA just did something no company has ever done. It crossed a $5 trillion market value. One chip maker is now roughly on par with the yearly output of Germany, the entire country, and that's not a small country. Since the launch of ChatGPT kicked off the AI arms race, NVIDIA has become the toll booth of modern computing. Its data center chips and networking gear power most of today's artificial intelligence. Now, this isn't only a stock story. At $5 trillion, NVIDIA now makes up a little over 8% of the entire S&P 500, and the AI build-out it fuels is spilling into the real economy. In the first half of 2025, spending on data centers accounted for about 92% of United States GDP growth, according to Harvard economist Jason Furman. Here's the risk. When one company becomes this central, the market and the economy inherit its ups and downs. A sharp drop in NVIDIA would ripple through index funds, retirement accounts, cloud investment plans, and the 24/7 AI compute boom itself. For now, investors are betting on NVIDIA's new Blackwell chips, its end-to-end platform of CPUs, high-speed networking, and the CUDA software that keeps developers locked in, plus the possibility of looser rules on sales to China. But the concentration is the headline. America's stock market and much of today's AI economy now pivot on a single company. What's the real message here? Congratulations to NVIDIA becoming the first $5 trillion company, but it's scary. It now controls 8% of the entire S&P 500. One hiccup, one cold, it could bring us all down. Let's dig a little deeper. Let me be clear. I am not predicting NVIDIA tanks. I'm not predicting a recession. I'll leave that to others who, by the way, are usually wrong. Also, full disclosure, I own a bunch of NVIDIA stock, primarily through index funds. And I certainly hope I don't seem like I'm talking up my book, and I don't actively trade funds, nor do I invest anyone else's money. This is not a financial management show. But we are looking at this as it affects our larger culture, our larger economy. What Filtered is about is looking at top business stories, and this is a business story, filtering it through the lens of communication and personal development. So, look, there's always been big companies, but this is just astounding. At $5 trillion, as I mentioned in the news read, it's the size of the entire Germany economy. It's 8% of the entire S&P 500. Here's the real kicker. It's bigger than the entire Russell 2000 combined, meaning the bottom 2000 US stocks. If you add up the valuation of all of those companies, it's smaller than what NVIDIA's were. Now, if some company in the Russell 2000 goes from a high flyer to just tanking, or it misses its revenue estimates and it's down 20%, it's really no big deal as long as you didn't invest heavily in that one company. But now we are at the point where imagine if NVIDIA goes down 20% in one day. I don't even want to think about it. Now, all big companies go up and down from time to time. So it is inevitable that it does suffer decline. Again, I'm not predicting NVIDIA goes down, and I'm not even going to tell you it's overpriced now. I'll leave that to other market analysts, but it is fascinating. Here's the other thing. Human brains really don't process big numbers very well. It is hard enough for the average human to even visualize or conceptualize $1 billion. When we're talking about $1 trillion, or certainly in this case, $5 trillion, most human brains are simply not capable of understanding how big that is. Yes, I understand we can all write the appropriate number of zeros and commas, but that's far different from really grasping the magnitude of how big this is. And it's all premised on the idea that artificial intelligence is great, and I think it's great. I use it every day. I used it to help me with script writing today. I used it to help create the image you see on the screen if you are watching this on YouTube or any other social media platform other than my friends on TikTok who can't see it. So I love AI, but I can't tell you it has added trillions and trillions of dollars of long-term value to our economy. I don't know. What happens when there is an inevitable shakeout in the industry, just as there was with railroads in the 1840s in England, just as there was with the automobile industry in the United States, just as there was in radio and TV companies 100 years ago, just as there was when the internet boom went bust in 2000. There is inevitably a time when any new technology, no matter how great, no matter how transformational it is, peaks, and then people realize, 95% of the companies rushing into this new space aren't going to make it, aren't going to be able to pay their bills, aren't going to be able to order new product from distributors. If it's car companies, a bunch of people stopped ordering steel. They weren't making any more cars. If it's AI companies and they are all ordering chips from NVIDIA and a bunch of them stop, what is that going to do? Now, for a little more background, if you're not exactly familiar with what NVIDIA does, they have AI GPUs, multiple GPU systems, ultra-fast networking, and the CUDA software ecosystem that keeps developers locked in. Now, the other thing that doesn't get enough attention in the marketplace is how quickly China is making advances in artificial intelligence and in chip making, and how they have a strategic interest in really harming the United States with all the trade wars going on. We already saw what happened to the markets in just a couple of days when DeepSeek came out earlier this year with so many advances and doing things so much cheaper. So there's always the possibility of disruption, but there's also the possibility that NVIDIA keeps its leadership position in the chip space, but that the overall demand just goes way, way down. A few more interesting facts. Data center investment tied to AI made up 92% of the first half of 2025 U.S. growth. Now, many commentators, including Scott Galloway, have pointed out this is really the only thing that keeps our economy afloat, especially with all the nonsense we've had with tariffs, picking wars where none were existing previously. With all the disruption to our economy, government shutdowns, etc., we would be in a massive recession now if we did not have AI spending fueling them. If you went back 5 years ago, economy was humming along, even during COVID, and it didn't have all this AI spending. If you took out our AI spending right now, and really even just the spending on NVIDIA, we would be in a recession right now. Again, am I predicting a recession? No, because most people who predict recessions are wrong. And you look at most great technology bubbles, the people who started predicting recessions, they were often 3 years too early, 2 years too early. We are now seeing a lot of people saying, hey, we're going to head to a recession. This AI spending is a bubble about to burst. I don't know. You don't know. You might guess correctly. Other people in the market might guess correctly, but nobody really, truly knows. What I do know is that if NVIDIA stock goes down substantially, it is going to have a ripple effect, like perhaps none we've ever seen before in the economy. And it is a little bit scary. But anyway, congratulations to NVIDIA. Again, full disclosure, I do have a bunch of clients in the chip space. I'm not trying to hype my book. As I mentioned, I own NVIDIA stock. I'm not saying buy it by any means. I'm not saying sell it. I'm saying we have to really understand the significance of this and even try to understand the significance of any one company getting this big, because it is unprecedented. You could make the case that, okay, there was a time when Standard Oil was proportionally gigantic, but such a smaller scale compared to the giant worldwide economy we live in now, and this $5 trillion market cap. Truly astounding.